On behalf of the Hinsdale Central Foundation, I'd like to welcome you all tonight to the 2022 Hinsdale Central Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So to kick things off and to get us started with our program, we want to welcome Mr. Imrie to introduce our first inductee, Mr. Douglas Newby.
Thank you very much. I'll be brief because Doug's going to be long, he said. And really what Doug is mainly is tall. There he is over there. Doug, I didn't know very well in high school, but because I was a landlord in New York City for a while on an ancient building, I got an appreciation for landmarking and preservation of notable old structures. And then turns out Newby is a national figure in that field, managing to preserve historically significant buildings in Dallas without confiscating them, which is kind of a change from New York City. And so I think his membership in this wonderful hall is going to be a blessing for Hinsdale as well, as they take advantage of his scars and knowledge from Dallas. About $1 billion worth of property has he saved in his real estate business. Thank you, Doug.
Well, Gordon, first, you're amazing. Thank you. It's also fun to see so many Hinsdale Courier writers and editors. It feels like a press conference. I can't believe how many of my very favorite people are in this room. And Ken Malcolmson is the only one that required an appearance fee. It's what happens when you're voted best looking. I really don't know how to express my profound gratitude for all of you being here. Thank you. And thank you, Principal Bill Walsh, for the magnificent job you're doing for the high school. And thank you, Carol and Cameron and Jean and the Hinsdale Central Foundation Board for selecting me, and even more, what you do for Hinsdale. When I read the Hinsdale Hall of Fame profiles, I realize there's more than one type of member that makes up the magic of Hinsdale. I see a mosaic. Some members make high-profile contributions. Others make a more nuanced contribution. I'm the first selected for making a small, niche, nuanced contribution. A tiny sliver of the Hinsdale mosaic. Being selected for the Hinsdale Hall of Fame is the highest public honor I've received. But even a greater honor is being from Hinsdale, being associated from Hinsdale. Growing up with my friends and classmates, I'm being taught by Hinsdale coaches and teachers. But the greatest honor is being nominated by Gordon Imrie. If the mark of a great leader is reflecting light and credit on others, this is Gordon Imrie. He did it in high school. He's done it his entire life. He was a star athlete. He was our class president, our newspaper editor, but he was always reflecting glory. He went to Stanford, Harvard. He's been successful in many fields, including preservation. And he's lived his life with a generous spirit. I'm confident if our class were to vote, Gordon would be our unanimous choice for the Hall of Fame. And I'd like to thank Cynthia Curry, who seconded my nomination. Cynthia is doing what I would love to be doing in Hinsdale. Living in the historic district around the corner from where I grew up, and serving on the Planning Commission, doing great things for preservation. In Dallas, whenever I think about preservation, I think about Hinsdale and its neighborhoods. Hinsdale has the best 4th of July parade as it marches through neighborhoods about to have backyard celebrations. If patriotism is defined by love of family, neighbors, community, and country, Hinsdale is the most patriotic place in the nation. My view of Hinsdale is through the lens of sports. But Hinsdale is not just any sports town. It's won more state championships than the other school, but sports is built on academics and aesthetics. Intelligence and creativity had far greater currency than athletic prowess. Our favorite classmates were smart, innovative leaders and nice people rooting for each other. My introduction to sports foreshadowed my athletic career. When I was barely 5 years old, we moved to 18 South Park, next door to Sherwood Crowley, who is 2.5 years and 3 grades older than me. He was an avid baseball player, and he convinced my parents to buy me a bat and glove. With some exasperation, he taught me to throw 10 feet to the chalk-drawn home plate on the front sidewalk. And using my new monster Hank Aaron bat, he hit it right back at me. But he hadn't taught me how to catch. I had the most beautiful black eye for a week. Not the only bump in the road. In 2nd grade, Principal Schwartz called my parents in and told them I needed to be placed in a remedial gym class. I couldn't do a backward roll. I said there'd be a gymnastics reference to our Hall of Fame recipient tonight. In the meantime, Sherwood taught me how to throw and catch a football, with Jimmy Vaughn shoot a basketball. We played sports every day. My mother, from another generation of family of all girls, thought sports was a waste of time and discouraged my participation. Yet she did credit Sherwood, now the distinguished writer in residence at Knox College, for encouraging my intellectual curiosity. But my sports career really did peak in grade school with speed skating and touch football at Burns Field. In 4th grade, I was placed on a 4th and 5th grade team of JC, so a 6-man touch football team, when I learned what a difference coaching can make. After our first practice, the 5th graders went home, told their parents they wanted to quit because our team was so bad. Through superior coaching, our team improved every game. I played receiver and defensive back and helped our team go on to win the Hinsdale Clarendon Hills Championship. But my descent as a football player was rapid. In 7th grade tackle football, I weighed a whopping 95 pounds, and the cutoff for the lightweight division was 94 pounds, making me a heavyweight. What I remember was another 7th grader, George Matoka, already at his full high school varsity playing weight, running right over me, knocking me flat on my back. Tennis immediately became even more appealing. I even loved the soft courts at Salt Creek Club because they were so much more forgiving on one's body. And where else could a kid learn how to play tennis? From the same coach who coached 2-time NCAA champion and French Open champion, Billy Martin. And then have their game further refined by the next summer pro at Salt Creek Club, Bill Landis, the Indiana coach who had just won just won back-to-back tennis NCAA championships. I even had coaches who are now in the Hinsdale Hall of Fame who taught me how to drive, survive a stall in an airplane, draw a political cartoon, coached me for the Latin convention, coached my touch football team, and timed my first 53, 31.9. In Hinsdale, one is exposed to the best, whether it was nationally famous coaches or neighbors who are CEOs, or famous nuclear fusion scientists like Cornelia and Mark's father, Dr. Manfred Kaminsky. The coach I'm eternally grateful to is Coach Gerald Himes. I love basketball, and there's nothing I wanted more than to make the 7th grade junior high basketball team. There were 100 students trying out for 15 spots. Every day, a list of names was called for who could come back. I never wanted anything so badly in my life. On the final day, Coach Himes decided not to keep 15 players, but to keep 18 players. Being the last player on the team to score a point, which happened to be in the 4th quarter of the final game of the season, officially made me the 18th player. Coach Himes had told my parents that I'd anticipated well and had potential, but Coach Himes knew I could never help his team. He still kept me on the team. I had coaches that knew how to lose in the darndest ways. And I had coaches that knew how to win. The coach that best knew how to win was Coach Dave McGann. Coach McGann was a former Illinois quarterback who is thoughtful and no nonsense. I met Coach McGann after 8th grade in a summer basketball program where he taught us how to beat our man one-on-one. I paid attention, practiced for hundreds of hours, and it made me the slowest of the 50 players, the fastest from the free throw line to the basket. This still didn't prevent me from being the last man on the freshman B team to get into a game. Or as a sophomore, the only player that didn't get their name on the scoreboard. As a result, I was asked if I wanted to be practice fodder against the junior varsity and the varsity led by the great Dave Stone. I think I recall Dave Stone leading his team to victory while setting the all-time Hinsdale basketball team scoring record, 11 points. Coach McGann had implemented a stall offense against a bigger team. Also, after I'd been the last man on every team, Coach McGann started me my junior year, and I received conference honors my senior year. My teachers at Oak School. My teachers at Oak School, about the same size as my teachers. My teachers at Oak School, Schumann, Parsons, Hill, Webb, and Glickson, taught me to love reading, researching, and learning. Often, with great fondness, I think of every single one of my Oak School classmates who shared this early journey. And 15 of them are here tonight. Even John Elting, and Jim Haig, and Greg Baum, and Peter Vogel, and Carol Warmbold, and Courtney Morris, and Libby Shafer, and Jim Parsons, and so many of my favorites. Peter Vogel, did I say Peter Vogel? Yes. Oh, anyway. Well, Todd Forbes. In high school, writing for the Courier gave me a lifelong penchant for writing articles and op-eds, and Joanne Ensign selecting me to be pep rally chairman prompted me to be elected head cheerleader at SMU and running towards a microphone whenever I had a chance. Hinsdale inspired my career and civic passion. When I was a senior at SMU, James Searles and a group of artists introduced me to Munger Place, which the city considered the worst neighborhood in Dallas. It was only 2 miles from SMU, but it felt like it was 1,000,000 miles away from the paradise of SMU. However, in Munger Place, I saw a bit of Hinsdale under the grime. You see, in 1905, Munger Place, about the same size as Robbins Park Historic District, Robbins Park was considered the finest residence park in the Southland. It was a planned development of beautiful boulevards and uniform setbacks, the best architects designed homes, one of them out of the studio, Frank Lloyd Wright, in the prairie style tradition for the most prominent families in Dallas. Over the years, general density multifamily zoning was introduced, causing the neighborhood to deteriorate, homes to be turned into fourplexes. In 70 years, Dallas had been booming, but during these same 70 years, homes in Munger Place lost 30% of their value and were destined to be demolished. Growing up in Hinsdale, I felt cheated. There wasn't any crime like the Hardy Boys got to solve. My first week in Munger Place, I was able to see more crime than in all 40 volumes of the Hardy Boy books. My first night in Munger Place, I walked 3 blocks to the grocery store, picked up a copy of D Magazine, the cover headline, "The Meanest Bar in Dallas," over a picture of the Deer Lounge, which is the bar I had just walked by. My point of this is the neighborhood was grim. So for my master's degree, I did an independent study and thesis on how to preserve homes and revitalize Munger Place in the 100-block area of 2,000 homes. A central theme was single-family zoning. What is particularly interesting is this became the largest zoning case in the history of Dallas. And it was the apartment-owning investors who signed my petition for single-family and historic zoning that prohibited homes to be torn down. These slum landlords bought into the idea that their property had more value next to a renovated home than a dilapidated apartment. They were right. The historic and single-family zoning passed. Fannie Mae made their first inner-city loans in the country in Munger Place, and now Munger Place homes cost 100 times as much as they did when I first moved into the neighborhood. And James Searles, the artist that introduced me to Munger Place, has his work in the Chicago Art Institute and museums across the country. Munger Place will never be Hinsdale, but now Munger Place will always be a little bit of Hinsdale. After Munger Place gained momentum, I began working and preserving homes in the most expensive neighborhoods in Dallas. The most dramatic example is the Crespi Estate, designed by Maurice Fazio in 1939 on 22 acres. Everyone thought this home would be demolished for development. I found a buyer who spent $100 million renovating this architecturally significant home, and it still brings international attention to Dallas and preservation. What is it about Hinsdale that motivates me to do what I do in Dallas? First, I had the best neighbors, including Tish Newell. And then when I moved down the street, neighbors like Betsy Miller and Bill Christian, who has been a loyal friend for the 60 years that I've known him. We still talk about the endless hours of 16-inch softball we played in the field that connected all of our backyards. In between these two houses, I spent thousands of hours with friends and neighbors playing kickball, riding bikes, and enjoying the idyllic atmosphere of the neighborhood. The streets of Hinsdale provided the aesthetic and architectural backdrop for when I was delivering newspapers on my father's 1936 bicycle, or participating in childhood hijinks or thoughtful conversations on a lazy summer day, or on a winter night, walking home after practice with Bob Davies as he explained the state of the universe. I had fabulous friends and neighbors like Courtney Morris, who I've been friends with since first grade, and other friends like Paul Thompson, who didn't come to Hinsdale until halfway through junior high, but still knows Hinsdale better than anyone I know. And Ken Malcolmson was the last person I met in Hinsdale, but had a profound impact on my life as he introduced me to SMU and remains a great friend today. Memories of all of you instill admiration, appreciation, and a feeling of fondness for the experiences we shared. I came back to Hinsdale today to thank all of you here and all those that made an impact on me. Hinsdale provides comfort and inspiration. Hinsdale also is a competitive place. As a very successful classmate, Gene Ahern once said to me, when you make it through Hinsdale, everything else is easy. It's true. Everyone I know from Hinsdale is successful in many public or private ways. I'm proud of our village, and I'm proud of each and every one of you, and most of all, my association with you. Thank you. Go Hinsdale. Go 70. Go 70. Go 70. There we go. Go 70. Go 70. Thank you.